Edit to add this. Did your vasectomy affect sexual longevity? And was the quality affected in any way? Also, do sperm come out? Edit 2. Wow, I didn't expect to get so many replies. Thank you all for sharing, as I have learned so much from this discussion. I appreciate the funny comments as well, as I got to laugh so hard today. Story 1. I had it done a few years back. There is no difference in climaxing. Feels the same, looks the same, and tastes the same. The only thing that changes is that you cannot get someone pregnant. Story 2. Literally, nothing changed. I had been having unprotected intimacy with my wife for a while by the time I got it. As for science, I have no idea where the sperm goes. Plenty of seminal fluid comes out, but I guess the sperm just stays in the tube and gets absorbed again or something. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a man. I ejaculate in my wife. She doesn't get pregnant. Mission successful. Story 3. Orgasms are no different as far as I can tell. Bear in mind the vast majority of ejaculate is seminal fluid, basically food and lubrication to help sperm on the journey, which comes from other glands. I was told the cells live out their short lives in the testes, as if you did not orgasm that day, and then are absorbed by the body as normal. Story 4. No difference in orgasm intensity or volume of ejaculate. If anything, it was an increase in enjoyment because I didn't have to have a nagging fear each time that I might have gotten my sexual partner pregnant. Story 5. Coming is the same, but better, I guess, because I don't have to put on a condom or pull out. However, sometimes I still want to pull out just to make a mess. Story 6. Functionally, nothing changed with ejaculating. Mentally, it is better as I'm no longer worried about the condom or pulling out in time when we wouldn't use condoms. And of course, things feel better without a condom. We can also be more spontaneous as we don't have to worry about having a condom available. Sperm does not come out after a vasectomy. All the rest of the fluids that make up your semen do, so you still ejaculate the same as you did before. There are just no sperm cells in the fluid. They remain in your testicles. Eventually, your body breaks down and absorbs old sperm as it makes new sperm. This occurs naturally regardless of having a vasectomy or not. As far as your body is concerned when it comes to the sperm, everything functions the same as if you just abstain from having an orgasm for a while. There is no harm to your body. Story 7. Female healthcare professional here to answer the second part of your question. The sperm is basically released into your blood instead of being released out of your body, and your white blood cells attack them. And poof, they're gone. Haha. Story 8. Edit to add this. Did your vasectomy affect sexual longevity? No. And did the quality get affected in any way? No. How is coming different? No different. And where do the sperm go? They just get recycled. Story 9. If I lined up 10 guys' jizz for you, then you couldn't tell. There's literally no difference. It doesn't change your performance, amount of jizz, or longevity. The only change is that you save a lot of money because you don't have a kid. Story 10. Remember that game Whack-A-Mole? That's the game my testicle played with the doctor yesterday when I went for my vasectomy. Needless to say, they couldn't do the operation. Every time she got a hold of one, the other disappeared up my belly. So, I am booked in again for a second try next week. Hopefully, this time my balls won't play hide and seek, and I can get it done. Story 11. I had one and noticed no difference in orgasm, but my ejaculate looks clearer than before. Also, in my experience, having a vasectomy is appealing to most women, and you'll get more sex. Story 12. Everything feels exactly the same. No noticeable difference in any way. After a vasectomy, your testes are still producing sperm. But with the vas deferens cut and separated, sperm cannot get into your semen. Since the sperm cells hit a dead end, they just die and get reabsorbed into the body. You do not notice this happening. It is just a normal body process. Story 13. Many steer imagine Morn Squeeze spectacular ripe unpack oil society. This post was mass deleted and anonymized with redact. Story 14. Coming seemed kind of empty for a few months. Then it was back to normal. Your sperm kind of just gets dissipated into your body. I will say, now that my wife cannot get pregnant, she has developed somewhat of a fetish, which is pretty cool. Story 15. You're a sports model now. My wife loved it. The sex improves as well as the frequency. Who cares where the sperm goes as long as it doesn't go in her? Story 16. Longevity was affected because I was not used to raw being so much more sensitive. Time and tempering have helped that. Quality is enhanced because raw is more sensitive. Also, there is no anxiety about possible pregnancies, so it makes sex more enjoyable. Story 17. Cannot tell that anything is different, except that it is more fun since my wife and I can relax without her having to use birth control or worrying about an accident. Story 18. Only difference was the first few times ejaculating after recovering from surgery. I had the most pleasant tingly sensation that lasted a few seconds post-nut. Only lasted a few days. Story 19. No scalpel version here. Literally identical in terms of feeling. Sex life temporarily improved because my wife felt less anxiety about getting pregnant before normalizing. As far as where the sperm goes, I have no idea. Reabsorbed into my body. Story 20. This sounds like an exception to the rule, but ever since my vasectomy, I have been ejaculating twice in rapid succession. I do not know what this is called, but it is pretty cool. Story 21. The scar on my right testicle itches quite often. It has been more than 12 years since it was done. As for my sex life, that changed. Some days I finish normally. Some days I give up after running out of breath. And there are days I would be a great example of premature ejaculation. I still find my wife incredibly sexy and love her madly, so that isn't the issue. I noticed it about 3 months after the surgery. Story 22. So just about everyone here says it feels the same, which is a good thing. For me, it took about 2 years before it really felt the same or I got used to the slight difference. For the longest time after I'd ejaculate, the best I can describe it is my testicles felt super tight and kind of hurt. Like back in the day if you were ever blue-balled. It just felt like I never could quite get that 100% feeling, like a rushed or ruined orgasm. After a few years, I now feel like I finally get the full feeling, and my testicles aren't painful afterward anymore. So it sounds like I'm in the minority and no regrets, but it took a long time to go back to a normal feeling. Story 23. This post was mass deleted and anonymized with redact. Story 24. Got one a bit over a year ago. No differences. Ejaculate looks and smells the same. Volume is the same. Everything feels the same. Literally, the only difference is that I can't get my wife pregnant. Your ejaculate is much less than 1% sperm normally. Take that away and it's still the same to our perception. The vasectomy doesn't affect anything else anyway. It really is the same except you're shooting blanks. Story 25. There is no difference in look, texture, volume, or, according to my wife, taste. The orgasm feels no different either. The only difference is I can't impregnate someone now. Story 26. Orgasm is the same. No change to longevity, libido, or anything like that. As for the sperm, it stays in the testicles and is reabsorbed into the body. A vasectomy cuts the connection where sperm would exit the testicles and enter the rest of the ejaculate. So a person will still ejaculate. It will just contain no sperm. Story 27. Sperm make up just a tiny part of semen. They are released into your testicles. There is not really a difference in what I ejaculate or how it feels. If you consider doing it casually, I recommend using condoms to prevent diseases and such. Story 28. No difference whatsoever. Beyond the initial procedure, I would not have known anything is different. I had no pain, recovery was a breeze, and bluntly, there is zero change beyond the lack of swimmers. Story 29. I have had no difference in my sex drive, volume, or abilities. I can't give you any difference at all except for potency. I am sure it has been addressed here already, but the sperm cells are simply reabsorbed by the body in the same process that excess sperm was dealt with before the surgery. Story 30. My brother or sister, if you don't get on Google and do some research, just kidding. No difference in anything, but now I have the unlimited cupcake code and my wife really loves that feature. Story 31. Cuming isn't different. Your sperm does not come out. It looks the same with the same viscosity and smell. Some reports say it tastes the same. Only a small amount of the liquid you produce during orgasm contains sperm. Most of it is there for nourishment and protection. I just had my post, and I had no sperm in my samples. Story 32. I got snipped back in February of 2023. Nothing has changed at all. I have lumps on the side of my scrotum from where the urologist severed and sealed the vas deferens. But beyond that, everything feels normal. I just don't have to worry about getting my girlfriend pregnant. Story 33. I just had a vasectomy 2 months ago, and my orgasms feel a bit more intense, while my semen is also less viscous and has less stick than it used to, which makes cleanup a lot easier. Overall, 20 out of 10 would recommend. Story 34. I'm in a dilemma where I don't want my wife to use the patch all her life, but she doesn't want me to have a vasectomy either. I feel like the risk of being pregnant adds some spice to sex, so I feel like I'd enjoy it less. It's just weird how I think. Story 35. Never needed it as my wife always had an intrauterine device. She hated the idea of condoms, and the pill killed her libido. She took it out when we wanted a kid, had the kid, and had one put back in. Story 36. Everything feels the same several months after. It was tender for maybe a month or so. The anesthetic did not work for my procedure. It made my burst appendix feel like a sunny day in a park surrounded by puppies, with everyone I love telling me how proud of me they were. It was genuinely a new realm of pain that couldn't have been fathomed without experiencing it. I'd do it again for the security, but I absolutely had nightmares. Story 37. Yeah, I don't know what all doesn't make it in there, to be honest, but the sperm in ejaculate really only makes up a very small amount of it. It really didn't change the consistency of the amount by any. I don't think anyone would notice if you didn't tell them. So yeah, sex didn't change at all for me, but my girlfriend was able to get off the pill, so I think she appreciates it. Story 38. Everything looks, feels, and acts the same. If you really feel around, you can find the cut ends. You wouldn't know anything had happened without using a fairly powerful microscope. There's barely even a scar where they went in. Story 39. No difference. All participants are significantly happier. Here's a good write-up on the biology aspects. Story 40. No difference in ejaculations. However, one thing that didn't hit me was the finality of it. It kind of got me down knowing I won't be having another kid. Even though I would never want my wife to go through that again, I almost lost her once. Story 41. Like a friend puts it, it's like stevia. It sweetens but doesn't make you fat. As for your question, it didn't affect anything in my case. However, for some friends, it was a painless experience. It was not my case, though. Story 42. There is absolutely zero difference other than the fact it's no longer full of microscopic little swimmer dudes. Nut to your heart's delight, my friend. Story 43. Had it done in 2015. Firstly, ejaculation is no different whatsoever. While I was healing, it hurt a little, but within a week there was no difference. I didn't have sex for a little while, but there was no difference. No sperm comes out, but ejaculate certainly does. Again, there is no discernible difference from before. As for where the sperm cells themselves go, they are recycled by the body. Well, the real truth is a little more complicated, but very simply put, they are just reabsorbed by the body. Story 44. First orgasm post-cut felt super weird, but all good after that. Much different experience when you don't have to worry about a baby. Just get your semen checked once in a while as it can reconnect. Story 45. Just wanted to mention that the following phrases, "Where does the sperm go?" and "What does the fox say?" have the same cadence. Do with that what you will. Dog goes woof. Cat goes. Story 46. Same as before. Just do the post-operative tests to ensure there are no remaining swimmers before trusting it. Best decision I have made. There's no spray and pray, just spray. Story 47. No difference. Maybe less concern knowing I'm shooting blanks. They are absorbed back into the system like normal. Even young pornography addicts don't expel them all. Story 48. Volume and viscosity are both way down for me, but nothing else has changed. Sometimes I still have pain at the incision site. It's been over 4 years, but it comes and goes. From what I'm told, that's incredibly uncommon. Story 49. At first, it was like I wasn't getting full completion, but after a couple of months, it's so nice to just let go and enjoy sex. Orgasms have returned to full pleasure. I'm happy to report. Story 50. To answer your question, the sperm's access to the rest of the fluid is cut off. The vein that they travel through to the rest of the fluid is cut and clipped. The sperm stays where it is produced and gets absorbed by the body. Story 51. I got mine 10 years ago. I went and got a sperm count test and it was 0. Ejaculations are the same. The color is transparent now, but that's because of the age, I think. Story 52. Technically, the volume you produce is 10% less because that is how much of any given ejaculate is actually sperm. Everything else is the same. As for where it goes, I'm pretty sure your body still produces it for quite a while, but your antibodies see it as foreign matter and kill it. Eventually, you can stop producing it, though, so even though it is reversible, that doesn't mean you will still be fertile if you do get it reversed. Story 53. Quick numbers feel the same. If you do some edging and slowly build up the pressure, I can feel the difference. Depending on the day, it's a kind of little cramp or sting in my testicles. Sometimes it's nothing, and sometimes a sensation like a blocked passage. I can feel the muscle trying to tense but can't. I cannot explain it better. In the beginning, it did hurt just a little, nothing bad but strange, and that went away after a year. Sorry for the strange explanation. I lack the right words to describe it. I don't regret it and would do it again. 2 kids, married, and I was 42 when I went 2 years ago. Story 54. When your vas deferens is cut, the testes generate an abundance of spermatozoa. As they do not evacuate, there is a feedback loop that suppresses production. You do not make more because there is no room to make more. Story 55. I had my vasectomy in 2013. Ejaculation still looks and feels the same. I didn't taste test before and after, so I can't say if that's affected. But I still last 20 to 30 minutes like I've always done. Story 56. After a vasectomy, the sperm can no longer mix with semen because the vas deferens, which are tubes that carry sperm, are cut or blocked. So, when a man ejaculates, the semen still contains fluid from the prostate and seminal vesicles, but no sperm. The sperm are reabsorbed by the body and do not get released. The feeling of orgasm and ejaculation is typically the same, just without sperm in the semen.